This is mine.
That's my explicit mic. Don't touch it.
Awesome. And I have a little bit of movement in it. Great. I had hair until I started teaching high school girls. Teenage girls. I was full-fledged head of hair. And then I started teaching at an all-girls Catholic school in the near south side of Chicago. And I found out I was a white male at that point. I was 25 when I found that out. Before that, I was just a guy. I think I'm funny. Hey, everybody think I'm cool? And then I found out, having gotten a job at an all-girls Catholic school on the south side of Chicago, that there was a million things that I did not know. And I loved it. I gave this up in trade-off for experience. I learned so much. One thing I learned was young women are very different than young men in how they communicate. And it's something I didn't know. But women talk through triangulations. And this is not disparaging. I actually think that the young women that I've worked with over the last 15 years, I now teach at Southwest High School here in Macon. So all of the young women that have taught me over the years speak in triangulation. When I say, Mr. Schmidt, I don't even, what do you want? When they say that to me, they're not saying that to me. They're showing that girl why you should have, who's not my friend, why you should have said happy birthday to that girl who is my friend. I didn't get a haircut I got a haircut recently, and you didn't say shit about it, and you're her friend. It's a triangulation that is so brilliant that now I talk with my 15-year-old boys who are the lowest form of life on the planet. If I believe they could get themselves together, I would say less negative about them, but they can't. They are like amoeba in their ability to think ahead of anything. So I now tell young men this all the time, boys and men who they don't know, that you are never talking to a girl. You are talking to her 2 or 3 friends who are around, her friends and family who are behind her, and her 2 enemies. You are always talking to all of that when you walk up to her and say, yo, what's up? You're doing all of that at once. And it's brilliant. Do it. Hold on to that weight of your words. Don't throw your words. Right. But how did I learn that? And this is a glow up. So during my first year of teaching, I had the hardest class I had in the last 15 years. Now, I don't know if that is on accident, but I had other teachers during the years after that tell me, no, they were bad. And I say bad in, whatever. Everybody's young. And okay, so there was a period of time where, the other thing that I learned about young women is that they will hold grudges much longer than any young male ever will.
I know that.
A boy and a boy, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. I thought you weren't friends with him. Yeah, whatever, he's okay. I had a moment in my first year of teaching in which 2 young women, they were both freshmen, so 14, 15, were about to come to blows. Hey, say that to me again. I'm on the other side of the room. Say it again. And I didn't yell. In fact, I just kind of walked. I was over here. They're going from loud to really quiet. And that's when it gets bad. It's when it gets really quiet. Say that again. Like, oh, shit. But I was 25, right? I didn't know. And so I just kind of watched it. I kind of thought they would find themselves. Talk it out. I was wrong. They went at each other, and they didn't actually hit all that much because their friends were there and they pulled them away. And that was November, I would say. Yeah, November, these two young women. And fast forward 5 months. This is April. Talking to one of the young women who, she and I never really had good terms during this period. And I remember saying to her 5 months later, hey, well, what? I didn't talk about that. I said, hey, why would you do that? And she looks at me and she goes, you don't even, she didn't say the balls. She said, you couldn't even break up a fight. That's what she said to me. 5 months after I watched two girls start going at each other. I was at my desk, and they break it up. 5 months later, she resented me that I didn't break up that fight. Ooh, that hurt. So a couple of those fell out. The next year was a little bit easier, but it was already receding. And, okay, so I had a crush on a young woman who I was dating when I was 23. And then fast forward about 4 or 5 years later, she came back into my life while I was a teacher. And I had lost this. And she didn't mind, she didn't care, but she also didn't want to date me. I was no longer in her purview, partly because I broke up with her the first time. And she's right. I was an impetuous young man at 27, said, hey, maybe we can get back what we once had. I didn't say those words, but she knew that's what I meant. And I remember saying to her, learning about how different it is to be a young man and a young woman, is that the feeling that how do I say this? I remember looking at her and she said, don't worry, you'll be all right. You're a man. You always get better looking. And I remember hearing that at 27 and not really thinking about that being true. But it was, and it really blew my head off to say, whoa, I really do have to think about women's lives totally different than men's and how we see this attractive. And I said, well, am I still attractive? And she, I remember, reached over. I had a watch on at the time, and I was a teacher, so I was wearing a tie and a button-up shirt. And I said, more attractive, I lost my hair since the last time you saw me. And she's like, and I remember her grabbing my arm and saying, look, you'll be attractive because of this. And she pointed at my arm that had a watch on it and a rolled up shirt with a button on it. And in one moment, this woman changed my life to understand how attraction works to males. And she said, look at this. She pulled up my hand and she says, that is professional. Someone will always want to marry you. They don't even want to date you. They want to marry you. And that felt so harsh and beautiful at the same time, because no man ever wants to be like, yeah, I want to be married. No, I want to be dateable. Come on. Don't you want me, women? And she showed me in that moment how attraction to men works. And now I'm happily married and have a kid and all that stuff. But that's my glow up. Thank you.